The wool reading smelled like dust and lemon polish. The air inside the lawyer's office was so thick with silence that even the ticking clock felt too loud. I sat there, hands clenched, jaw tight, as my aunt leaned back in her chair, crossing one manicured leg over the other. She looked composed, as if she'd already rehearsed this moment. Then she said it. "We already divided everything, Clara," she announced, voice clipped and final. "You weren't invited for a reason." For a moment I thought I'd misheard her. My chest constricted. "Excuse me." The lawyer, Mr. Hopkins, cleared his throat, eyes flicking nervously between us. "Mrs. Turner, perhaps we should wait until," and waved him off. "No. She deserves to hear it straight. My brother's estate has already been distributed. You weren't included, Clara. It's what he wanted." Her words didn't just land, they struck, like glass shattering inside me. My father had been gone for barely 2 weeks. And now his sister was telling me I had no part in what he left behind? The house I grew up in, the small bookstore he built from scratch, his collection of first editions, all gone. "I don't believe you," I whispered, and gave a soft, pitying smile. "Sweetheart, grief makes people remember things the way they wish they were." I stared at her, the polished mahogany desk between us suddenly feeling like a battlefield. I knew my father. He'd never exclude me from anything, especially not his will. Something was wrong. Mr. Hopkins shifted in his chair, uneasy. He looked older than I remembered, and nervous in a way that lawyers rarely are. "Clara, perhaps it's best we go over the document." Anne's eyes flicked toward him, sharp warning. He immediately went quiet. That glance told me everything. I took a slow breath, forcing my voice steady. "When was this will signed?" And smiled again too quickly. "A month before he passed." He was thinking ahead. That was impossible. A month ago, Dad had been in the hospital, hooked to machines, barely conscious. A chill ran down my spine. I stood, my chair scraping back. He couldn't even hold a pen then. And Rose too, her voice taking on that saccharine sweetness she used whenever she was lying. "Clara, you're upset. You weren't there for him at the end, so maybe you don't know how much things changed." That cut deep. I had been there. Every night, sitting by his bed, holding his frail hand while she, his perfect sister, made excuses not to visit. I turned toward Mr. Hopkins. "Show me the will." He hesitated, fingers twitching toward the file. I saw guilt flicker in his eyes, brief but unmistakable. Mrs. Turner requested privacy regarding the original documents." My stomach dropped. "You forged it." The room froze. Anne's smile faltered. "Careful what you accuse people of, dear. Grief can make you delusional." But my pulse was roaring now, my instincts sharper than my fear. The bookstore had been my father's soul. He'd promised it would always be mine. I could almost hear his voice. "It's your mother's memory too, Clara. Keep it alive." And now my aunt, his own sister, was stealing it. I forced myself to sit back down. "Fine. Let's pretend I believe you. What did he leave you?" And tilted her head. "The house, the store, the savings account, and a few personal effects. He wanted everything kept in the family." "In the family," I repeated, my voice low. "But not to his daughter." Her eyes flickered. She picked up her purse, feigning calm. "You should move on, Clara. Sometimes blood doesn't mean loyalty." Those words echoed long after she left the office. That night I sat in my car outside her mansion, watching her dining room lights through the trees. The house was built with Dad's help. He'd co-signed the loan years ago when she was struggling. Now, she lived like royalty while I was left out of my father's life's work. Through the window I saw movement. And laughing, wineglass in hand. Beside her stood Mr. Hopkins, the lawyer. He wasn't there in a professional sense, he was comfortable. His hand brushed hers as she leaned close to whisper something that made him smile. My chest went cold. It wasn't just greed. It was collusion. I took a photo. Then another. I zoomed in until I saw his wedding ring glinting under the light. 2 betrayals intertwined. The next morning, I returned to the law office unannounced. I waited until his secretary stepped out, then slipped into his office. The file cabinet wasn't locked. My fingers trembled as I flipped through the folders until I found it. Turner, Charles. Inside was a single document dated 3 months ago, signed but not notarized. And the signature wasn't my father's. I knew his handwriting like my own heartbeat. The loops were too smooth, too perfect. I took photos of every page, my throat tight with rage. Then I saw another paper tucked behind it. A transfer of property deed for the bookstore, already filed, already approved. Signed by both Turner and Edward Hopkins. When I confronted them, I didn't raise my voice. I didn't have to. I have everything, I told them, dropping the photos onto the desk between us. The forged will, the deed, the late-night rendezvous. All of it. Anne's face went pale, but she quickly masked it with a smirk. You won't get far, Clara. Nobody's going to believe some grieving niece over two professionals. Maybe not, I said softly. But your husband might believe it. And so might the Bar Association. Hopkins' face drained of color. For a long suspended second, none of us spoke. The only sound was the rain outside, tapping against the window like a slow, deliberate countdown. Finally, inside, all pretense gone. What do you want? I looked at her. At the woman who'd kissed my forehead at my mother's funeral, who'd once promised to look out for me. The betrayal wasn't just legal. It was personal, bone deep. I don't want revenge, I said. I just want what my father left me. Her expression flickered, then hardened. Fine. The store's yours. But don't think this makes us even. It doesn't, I said quietly. It just makes us honest. A month later, I reopened the bookstore. The air still smelled faintly of him, old paper and coffee grounds. I repainted the walls, fixed the creaky floorboards, and placed a small photo of Dad near the counter. Sometimes, when the evening light filters through the window, I imagine him standing there, smiling. And still drives by occasionally, her tinted car windows hiding her face. But I see her. And every time she slows down in front of the store, I smile back. Not with bitterness, but with the calm satisfaction of someone who knows the truth survived the lies. Because betrayal doesn't end with the wound. It ends with the proof you refuse to bury.